right, so we're back and we have the drawing, our PDF drawing that we did, and we transferred it to our fabric, and I have actually went ahead and punched the brown color in the actual center. This is the back, okay? Everybody's looking at this probably saying that doesn't look like it. Remember that when you're punching, the good side is on the underside, or the back side is what we would call it. Okay, so now this is actually, I just wanted to go back through this, and if you notice there's gaps between the rows, and actually it's two of these threads, two of the vertical threads, and that is pretty much well standard all the way through this. But when you flip it over, you actually, and I'm moving this, you see none of the white, none of this. Okay, so it's plenty thick enough, but yet it's flat. All right, so this is it in the finished version of it. So the next color I'm going to do the purple corner here, and then I'm going to progress to green. Okay, so let's go back through this real quick on the threading. You'll go up through the eye hook, okay, up toward the slit. This is the slit. All right, you don't have to put it in there yet. You can if you want. Most of the time it'll pop out. So follow the slit to the opening of the eye of the needle. Pull that through. And it's basically trying to pull it down to floss. Floss it, you want, see that's riding too high. You want it to go, it has to be inside this, okay? All right, so now we're going to do the purple side, this one right here. When I start, you can outline if you want, or you can just do the up and down motions like this. So I think I'm just going to stick with the same technique to try to make sure I'm going to get better at it. So when I'm starting here, I'm going to start in the corner. Now remember, that's my outside line. I'm going to start, and I want to stay in this one right here. So I'm keeping everything within the plane. So I started in, I went down. I'm going in every hole. Now I'm not going to go in the hole that has the brown threads right here. I'm not going to go in that one, all right? So then I'm going to jump over to this, it's like the row that doesn't have anything, and then I'm going to go to the next one over here. This is going downhill, so it's a little harder, okay? So then I'm going to rotate. If you look right here, there's going to be two white picks. I need to be in this canal right here, this one. It's almost slow motion. This is not something that you're going really, really fast, but yet you can punch fast. You just need to get used to the rhythm of it. All right, so then I'm back to the top. I'm going to sit, go over one, go over two. Once I've done that, I'm turning it. Make sure that you have enough thread not being, you know, held back. You want to pull it out. So on this one, normally I would do 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I could skip. This one is a very short one. I'm going to wait till I get a couple of them that have more length to them before I'm going to skip. I'm going to go over 2, turn it around. If you feel, and I'm feeling something, it just feels like it's tagging something, I'm going to check it because it just doesn't feel like it. So I can tell right now that this one right here actually grabbed that brown loop. To see how long it is right here, I'm going to pull that back out. It just didn't feel right. If you pull it out, it doesn't matter. You can start over. If you have a loop like this one, I'm going to trim it because it seems like it's in my way and I keep moving it. So I'm also going to put my hand underneath this where these loops are. Let me see if I can show you that because that has helped. when these loops are in the way and I'm coming straight down, I'll take my hand and sometimes move them over like this so that I can punch without these getting caught, okay? Because what's happening is these are actually laying down, and when I'm punching, I'm actually grabbing them. So I'm just going to move them out of the way. When I take all the excess out, I got to pull it. Should be a very smooth, I mean, it just slides in there real smooth. But if something is stopping it, you're going to feel resistance, and you don't want to feel resistance. So this one I may do a skip one. So I'm going to do single. See, I did it in a whole, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to skip 2. So I skip that one, go into this one. So I skipped. So now I'm back to single, single, single. Sometimes when it gets too tight, that's when they start bunching up. Underneath, that is. Once I finish with this purple one, I'm going to go to a different color. I can feel right now, this right here, see how tight it is? I can feel I don't have enough. It just takes a very small amount. And since that was tight, I'm going to look. I want to make sure my loops are the same height. If I have one too long, I can always fix it. If they're short, it's harder to fix it. It doesn't look right. I am doing this on my lap, so it is harder. If you have a like a board or something you can put on your lap, that it seems to hold better because your knees need to stay together to hold it. Low coffee table, something like that. So I don't have many more, so I'm going to skip one, skip, go into this one. I can feel it getting tight on me. When you're trying to figure out which one to go into, you can go into that one, and then the next one will be my line. I probably have 2 more lines to go. Now on this one, it's kind of hard. I can either go directly, I'm going to skip 2 and go on this side of the line, which is okay. You're going to have to make that decision that that would be the end of the purple, or you want to do another line and end here. I'm just going to go to the top, okay? It's not necessary that you have X amount of rows here. You're just filling it in. If it's one line over, it's not, it's just, you've just made it more individualized. It's more like, you know, you designed it. And then you'll get to see how I end the purple. So I can feel resistance. It just takes a little tiny resistance. So when I get here to the top, here's my last one right here. What I'm going to do is just take one more right here in between these two. I'm going to go in. I want this one to be somewhat tight because I'm ending it. And then I'm probably going to go down just a couple in that row. And then when I pull up, notice my fingers here, and then I'm going to press down and pull. So what that's doing is that it doesn't pull out of the stitches. I'm just allowing excess thread. And then from here, I'm just going to trim. So when I turn this over, if I had one like this that's long, at the very end of when we finish this, I'm going to show you what we do with this, okay? I want to leave it right now because it'll make more sense if I have more. This one I didn't have any of those. These were pretty even. This one actually popped up, okay? So, and then there's a couple of little glitches right here, but these are fixable, all right? So that's the purple. Next is the green. So when I'm doing the green, take the purple out. If you're looking at the design, we've done this. I'm now either going to do this one and also this one. So first I think I'm going to start with this one and then I'll transition to this one because we just did a big square, okay? Let me show you how to do this. If you look at these lines, the horizontal lines, there's usually 2 rows of green. This one had 3 purples. 2 greens, 3 purples, 3 greens, 2. So I'm just kind of alternating, but they're very much in a line just like these, except they're going to go in an opposite direction. These are all vertical. Center pull, place it in the eye hook. I just go ahead and go down into the eye of the needle, grab it if you can. Make sure you have all plies. And then what you're doing is you're laying it in the trough and you're basically making sure that it gets in there. Can't stress that enough. Now, this one is kind of hard to do right here because it's the horizontal one, okay? I can either start here and do this line, or I can do this line, but then when I skip, I'll be skipping this one, and then this line will actually be on the other side of the black line. I don't think it really matters. It's just kind of what you want to do. I think I'm going to do this one because I've got a certain thing I'm going to tell you about. So this one may be tight because I've only got one line between this and the brown. So I'm going to go in probably every hole if it doesn't feel like it's restricted. So far it doesn't feel like it's very, oh, no, that one did, but I don't want to force it. If it feels like it's tight, I'll pull back and try it again. But this one seems to be going in pretty clean. Now, when I get to the very end, which is about right here, I can go down to, or if you feel the need, you could take this and just trim it like this. And then just bring your needle back, skip this row, because this is that row here. And you're not going in this one, you're going to go in this one, which is right here. See how far down it is? It's just where the next line starts. And that one was pulling. Yep, those are too short. Could feel it, so I'm taking it out. I'm still doing 2 rows of green in the same manner, I've skipped 2 whites in between the 2 greens. I tend to trim these as I go so I don't grab them. I think I'm going to skip 2 on this one. It's getting tight. I can feel it. I'm going to skip 2. Like I said earlier, if you'll just practice your technique, try to get really good at what you're doing, trying to make sure this is not bogged down with something or tensioned, and then your loops are going to be consistently the same. So I'm now getting to the end. So I'm going to do this one and probably one more. Press down, hold, trim it off. Keep this in here because you're getting ready to use green again, but let's look at it. So I did 2 rows. And so pretty much, well, it looks pretty thick, but the 2 rows, actually, you know, I'm going to work on this, but that'll be after I get everything done. So the next one will be the green block right here. And then, after this one's done in green, I'll go back to purple. This will be purple. This row will be purple. And I'll do green. Now, if I went ahead, this would be my next one, green. Some people are going to say, well, do this row green. If I do this green now, and I'll just do a few of them, I'm going to take this out because this is not what I'm doing, but I'm going to show you why. If you do this, what's happening is that this row, can you see that? This row and this row are they're gonna pinch together. It's gonna make really difficult to be able to punch in this section without grabbing these loops. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do them in succession instead of like candy caned. So this taken out. And all you have to do is do this, and the threads usually go right back. So this is my next square right here, okay? Make sure you're pulling it out. I think I've said that enough, but you really have to. This one, it's pretty tight right here. I don't know if I can get my green in here. So if anything, I'm gonna do right next to that one. You kind of have to make that decision yourself. You know, if you're a real tight puncher and you see that your thread or your needle is having a tough time going through there, skip a row. If you've skipped too many and you turn it over and you see the background coming through, then you probably need to do another row in there. So I'm doing that one and then the next one. And so what we're going to do is fill this one in, and then when we come back, we'll be doing the purple next, okay? So it's the same process, it's just methodically punching away. So, hey, I'm back again, and I just wanted to, I've been reading up a lot about how to finishing things, and I just wanted to point out, this thread right here was finished, and I went ahead and poked it through to the other side. We will do a segment on finishing this, so don't worry about the tail that it may leave. On this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to poke this one through in the same hole. So if you noticed, this is where I ended this one, went in. So I'm going to poke it in the hole. And once again, I'm doing just barely grabbing or dragging my needle back in. And I'm going to finish this green all the way to here and do a couple of rows, and then I'm going to show you what else we're doing. So every 4 or 5 I can skip a hole. So I skipped a hole there, and then I'm going to go in a hole, in a hole, in a hole, in a hole, skip a hole, because sometimes it just gets too tight, and skipping that one hole allows it to flow a little freer, and it's really not messing it up. So now I'm going to skip this line right here, okay, and I'm going to be in this next row here. So then I'm actually going in the direction. There's 1, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4 hole, and 5 hole skip, jump. I like it a little bit tighter. So, but every hole is kind of redundant, so you can skip that one. So I'm getting ready to skip another one. So when I finish this next row here, make sure your yarn is free. That's really important. It's not going to make the loop. So then I'm going to go here, that's that edge, and then I'm going to actually go, so I skipped it. So I'm on this last run of green. It's harder to see with the black line on it, okay? So I'm looking really carefully at my holes. I'm going to skip that one. And as I come all the way down here to the end, I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to see if I can poke it through, okay? So here's my end right here. I have been reading too about some people like to make sure that this one's pretty secure, so if there's a hole like right here next to it, you can actually go in that one. I don't want to go in this area here because it's purple. So as I come up, remember I'm going to put my finger there so I can pull this out a little bit without the loop coming out. So when I cut this, I'm actually done with my green because my next color is purple, so I'm going to take this out. Some people would use their scissors to poke this through, but these are really sharp. So I'm going to see if I can poke this through. If I can't, then I may have to turn it over. But what I'm trying to do is make this go to the other side. And almost. And I might just try to see. I just want to make sure that that's not sticking up. So some people will do this, and then some people will poke it to the front. And then on this side, you're going to actually have a tail here that we'll trim. We're going to do all our trimming on this side at a later date. Okay, right now we're just going to punch. So my next color is purple. I'm thinking it's going to be 2 strips. Once again, loading this. It's a little fluffy today. Once I get it in this hole and this hole, that's when I kind of hold on to it here, and then I put it into the slit, and then I just kind of floss it. I do like this part in completely. It's less abrasion, remember? All right, since I ended on this side, I'm going to come over here and start. So I'm going to skip 2 holes, and I'm going to start right here. Then I'm skipping that hole because I'm doing a 1, a 2. When you're using different yarns, you're going to have to gauge that yourself. If you feel like you need to go in every hole, do that. But I think every other hole, every time, is too much. It's leaving too many gaps. This one, I think I'm on the other side, right on the other side of the black line. And for me, that's okay. It doesn't have to be exact. I can actually see the holes better if the line is not on them, but you're never going to be able to get around that. If you feel resistance, stop. Like I just did. For some reason, it wasn't going in. That could be I just didn't have it in the right hole, or it was something else was stopping it. It should flow pretty freely. Now to end this one, I'm going to actually go toward the purple in that hole. And I'm just going to put one in between. This one can be poked through. If you don't want to, depending on your finish, you can just trim them. I tend to trim them so they don't get caught in my needle or my hand or anything. So now I've done that purple. Notice this one's purple here. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this one. Once I finish this row right here in purple, this whole section will be green. Then my next row will be green. Then I'll do purple green. I'm not going to do purple and then purple because these, if you notice, they sponge together, and what happens is your needle will end up tagging those, and you don't want to do that. So right now I'm just going to do purple next, then we'll do green, purple, green, purple.